I hated this book. Well, I read a couple places this book is for like 9 to like 16, or somebody else said 11 to 16 or so. It was awful, and I would never have any kid read it. No spice, not really any language. You know, it's kids. They're calling each other buttheads and saying you suck and things like that. So the story is basically this kid, Paul. He has an older brother who's in football, and then his mom and dad, and that's the whole family, just the four of them. They move down to Florida, Tangerine County, which is more central Florida. And they are in more of a ritzy neighborhood, a little bit nicer area, a new suburb that's come in. And they know nothing about Florida when they moved here. So basically, the dad is obsessed with the older brother's football career, and then the mom is just this horrible, horrible HOA Karen. And Paul here just wants his family's love and affection. He wants to play soccer. He just wants attention. Anyways, he is legally blind because something that happened when he was a little kid, and that's part of the plot, so I'm not really going to talk about that too much. But he is legally blind. He wears glasses. It's just a problem and makes it hard for him to be able to do sports and things at school. Basically, I don't even know what the point, where the plot was going. It's a modern book. He ends up on the soccer team like he wanted. He uses that to guilt his parents. He makes some friends in the ritzy school. He makes some friends in the not ritzy school. He learns a little bit more about old Florida, do all the orange groves. He's got some friends who work on the orange groves and kind of do that. And then he's got some friends that are just part of the rich goings-ons of town. Everything about his life and his family's life literally just revolves around his older brother and his football career. And his older brother is a horrible, horrible jerk. Like, if somebody dies, he laughs about it kind of a person. He's just evil. He's just horrible. That's basically the idea of the book. It's just a family who moves down to Florida and then causes problems, basically, with each other and with everyone else. I don't know. Okay, I read this book because my husband got it for me. He didn't really remember a whole lot about it exactly. He just said, hey, here's a book I read when I was a kid. I had to read it in school. Here, maybe you'll want to read it. I don't know. I'll read books for younger kids. I don't care. I mean, I just was reading Fablehaven, so yeah. But the problem with this book, there is no good characters. There's no good moral to the story. There's nothing good about anyone in this book. They're all just horrible, selfish, awful people. Why would a school assign kids to read this book? Why would anyone tell kids to read this book? There's no good role models. There's nothing good about it. It's terrible. I don't know how to explain how horrible it is. It's just, okay, the older brother, Eric, all he cares about is football and being this rich, famous football star. And he'll do whatever it takes to be able to be the main guy on the football team. His dad, same. His dad doesn't care about his younger kid. Older brother is a horrible bully. He's mean to literally everyone he sees. He has a couple little minions that do mean things for him, like if he wants to go beat somebody up at school or something. There's nothing good about that character. The dad is just like the older brother, just a little bit less mean, I hope. He is a super selfish guy who just gets plowed over by his family, but at the same time is shoving the one kid into this dream that he had when he was a kid, and he didn't get to be a big football star, so now he's going to force his son to be a big football star. But it's not like the football movie. There's no redeeming qualities about this father. He's just a horrible person, and there's nothing redeemable about him at the end of the book. We have Mom, HOA Karen. She moves down to Florida. She knows nothing about it, and then proceeds to complain about everything there is to be about Florida. Complains that there's lightning, complains that there's smoke, complains that there's sand, complains that there's this and that. She attempts at times to be a good mom. Oh, she's not. She's just this horrible person. She is such a brat. She becomes the HOA queen and just thinks that she's just on this power trip. She's just this HOA queen power trip. I cannot stand her. There's nothing good about any of these people. Character, you feel bad for him at times, like, oh, he just wants his parents' love. He wants to stop being afraid of his older brother, who probably would murder him. I don't know. But Paul, the main character, He attempts to be a good person at times, but really his goal is to be on the soccer team, and that's that. He doesn't care how he gets on it very much. He doesn't care about hard work. He just wants to do this one job, and that's that. He does have a couple friends here and there in the book that seem like genuine friendships. He does everything selfishly, it feels like. He does at one point try to help one of his friends on their Tangerine farm, to help save the tangerines, which was nice of him, but I don't really know if he was doing it out of the kindness of his heart or if he was just tired of being at home with his horrible, awful family and he was just looking for something else to do. I don't know why anyone would read this, why anyone would make their kids read this, why are schools having kids read this? Honestly, I don't know if they are, but apparently at some point this was a school book to read. No good characters, no good morals. These are all horrible role models, horrible people. They don't care about anything. And also, if I was a kid and I didn't grow up in Florida, I'd be terrified of Florida. There's so many bullies at these schools. There's again sinkholes that eat up school buildings with kids in them. A kid talks about multiple kids getting struck by lightning. Just things like that. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is a bad representation of Florida. I guess the main theme, maybe, I don't really know, would be there's kind of a war between the HOA suburb kind of ritzy people who just want to mow over and bulldoze what real Florida is, and then the native Floridians who love Florida, love the land and the animals and want to protect it and keep old Florida alive. And there's kind of the war of the keeping old Florida alive versus the rich people who just want to come in and bulldoze everything and then complain about it. That could be a theme, but it's not really super strong in here because you're mostly on just seeing this kid's point of view of his awful family and his awful life. And he's kind of learning about Florida, but it's not like in your face kind of a theme, I think. I would appreciate this book more if that old Florida versus new Florida people was more of a big deal, more of a theme. So you could really see that part of it, but there's no reason to read this book. There's no reason ever to make your kids or school kids or whatever for school lesson read this book. It's just, there's nothing good about it. There's nothing good about the people. There's nothing good about anything in here. It's all just terrible people doing terrible things. Yeah. Anyways, that's what I thought about Tangerine. I'm probably not going to keep this book. I really did not like it at all. I'm not going to waste my time keeping it, and I'm never going to tell anyone to read this, so don't waste your time. It's just terrible. Alright, I'm going to move on to a better book now. So happy reading, and yeah, don't read this book.